Okay, I want to say hello to everyone, and I want everybody to know this is the Athens Justice and Memory Team. This is our fourth meeting. This team is discussing what occurred in the 60s. We're talking about the partnership that the City of Athens and UGA formed to get an urban renewal grant. This grant was awarded and it allowed UGA to expand and to build three dorms, which led to the erasure of Leonardtown, a small Black community. The dorms are Crestwell, Brombury, and Russell off of Baxter Street. So we're talking about race and justice as a result of what happened to this community, which is not easy, but we have been able to get through the conversations and talk about those. So that's where we are tonight. I just wanted to get everybody informed before we start into the meeting. Um, what we normally do is have a moment of silence for Uniontown descendants. Tonight, I want to go ahead and include the pandemic and the civil unrest that right now that we're having in our country. So with that, let's go ahead and have a moment of silence. Thank you. I just want to say greetings to everybody. New Year greetings to everybody. Before we go down the agenda. Um, Tonight, we're going to, what we have on here is to talk about the resolutions that have been resubmitted to uh, the League of Athletes legal team. Um, but before we do that, I think we have Christine and Bobby on the phone. Is that correct, Bobby? You on now? Okay, you may not hear me. I'm waiting to keep on silence or not. Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. Um, what we did was Commissioner Mariah Parker, and a few of us got together and talked about the direction that we're going to take since we were not being able to use the gratuity clause. Um, I sent you all a copy of the new resolutions that,
When did you send it?
excuse me,
When did you send it, Hattie?
they came out with the agenda.
Oh, okay. Okay, I might have been able to open it. Okay. All
Okay,
right.
but due to not being able to use the gratuity clause, we had to get together and talk about how we can go forward and meet and still try to reach some type of justice for what had been done. So we had to have basically, I would say, a paradigm shift in the way we were thinking from the first resolution until the new one that we just submitted. We had to change direction, and and in this change of direction and the way we were thinking, we had to just come up differently, come up with another approach. And this new approach, along with Mariah, and that's why it's formatted this way, is because it's coming really from Mariah, who is going to submit it to the mayor and commissioners at their meeting. Any questions thus far as to why
No,
change directions? Okay.
no.
Um, and in this first page one, this first paragraph, as you can see, we included the Black communities harmed by urban renewal. So it's just not including just Linden Town. We just expanded it. So we included all the communities that has been harmed by urban renewal. As I said earlier, that this the revised copy that I'm reading from has gone to the legal team. I think Judd and I forgot her other name. I think it's Jenny.
Sherry,
Sherry.
Sherry Hines.
Okay. Oh, Mariah, you want? Do you
I'm
want?
here. Yeah, I'm here now.
Okay, you want to do the talking then, or you want me to go ahead?
I guess you're fine if you'd like to continue. I just wanted to clarify that we are prevented by the gratuities clause from dispensing any sort of direct material. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, Funds, in short, to those that were impacted by the destruction of Linden Town. And so we have decided to move forward with the other parts of the resolution while continuing advocacy, perhaps among other bodies, like our state legislature, to have that changed while, still trying to get the recognition, if not the redress, parts of the resolution done. But yeah, but if you want to keep going, I think you're
Okay.
doing a great job.
Thank you, and thank you for that input, additional input. So, anybody have any questions about what we just said about the first part? This page one, the first initial part that's coming from Commissioner Parker. Any discussion before we move on? Okay. If you turn over to you see number two, page two, there were not any changes over here. Um, it's just added additional information for clarity when you get down to whereas the Housing Act of 1949 established. That was just added for information. And then if you, it's and the whereas the University of Housing Act amended to allow universities, that's just additional information on that page. Any questions? Okay. If you turn over to page four, this is at the bottom of page four, where it's talking about whereas between 1959 and 1974. It just talks about it's just additional information supporting data. Questions or discussions? Okay, and go ahead. Anybody saying?
No,
Okay.
man.
Okay. And then if when you get over to page five, where it says whereas in 2019 Congress passed HR 40, this is just the current supporting data that was inserted in here to talk about what's going on, what happened in 2019, because this wasn't in there before. Okay, and if you get to page six at the bottom, it talks about this was rewritten to include the community. This was just a recommendation that Parker and we had Commissioner Parker and we had to include the community, um, the total amount of wealth lost instead of coming to us, then it could go unto the communities.
I don't understand that. What was that? I don't understand that.
Well, we
You
were
said go to
talking,
the community. What do you
yeah,
mean? Go to the community.
go to the community of in Athens. If we could, if we cannot get the funds given to us, what we wanted to say is they will be allocated to the community in Athens. The budget would be
Oh,
go to the in Athens, and then we would we will be, and then it's on down here that we will be a, maybe be a part of helping with telling where the allocations could go. Christine, it will be, if we can't get the money, we could better the whole community
oh,
by
I, okay.
directing the money to say where it should go for improvement of the entire community of Athens.
Mm, okay. Mm,
That will be one thing that we could do as a group, is to help to improve our community.
mm,
Questions? Like telecommunications, like right now, everybody don't have internet, and this could be an example. Everybody does not have access to internet, and maybe we a Wi-Fi, so maybe we could allocate that money to go to areas that people need it if this was approved.
mm.
And that way people can have access to Wi-Fi internet. And we have that right now in with some of the kids in school that don't have access to internet. Um, so that's open for discussion. I mean, that's a whole different approach, but it will be allocated in the within the budget. It's just a recommendation from us, but it would improve the community.
Miss Hattie, are you comfortable with this change? I know it sounds like you've discussed it in detail with Commissioner Parker and others. And I thought that was a good way to describe it, as sort of working on the recognition and thinking through other ways to deal with redress. Are you feeling comfortable with these changes to these resolutions?
I'm feeling that right now that if we can't, if the gratuity clause would not allow us to go down the road that we were going, instead of stopping or backing all the way out, then you have to have a different way, a different approach to get what you need. So it's either if you can't do it this way, then you have to work on it another way until something else opens up to work on it a different way. And we had to come to that agreement because it wasn't an easy change. That's why I said it was a paradigm shift in the way we
Mhm.
were thinking in order to get to where we are now.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Um, so it was a lot of discussion. It was just not a easy move, but we had to move in order to just be stopped in our tracks. So
Yeah.
how do you do that? So this was one way, if this is approved. Okay. Now, Mariah, Commissioner Parker did send that to the legal team, judge team, and they are working on it, but we haven't received it back yet.
Yeah, we should receive any recommendations from their office sometime this week. They said they discussed it in their morning meeting this morning, but weren't able to issue any recommendations quite yet.
Okay. So that's where we are. Because we wanted to go ahead, we were hoping that we would have their recommendations back before we had the meeting tonight, so it wouldn't keep dragging out.
Mhm.
But we didn't do that. So I thought we would go ahead and process what we had sent in anyway. Okay.
Patty,
Oh,
I know
yes,
I don't usually ask a question. Is it okay for me to ask a question?
of course.
Okay. Would you be willing to share just a little bit more about the paradigm shift that you just touched on? What are some of the things that you as a team are really hoping to accomplish?
Well, at first we were thinking, the team was thinking that we should be able to be compensated for the losses that our parents um, ha- that occurred from the losses of the property that our parents didn't receive the appropriate money that we have received due to the I didn't want to say I don't want to say selling the way that the property was incurred, I guess, by the through urban renewal to the University of Georgia. But after that didn't happen due to the gratuity clause, then we had to shift our thinking and say, okay, this is one way that to be completely stopped, the process stopped, because we knew that if it was not going to be, it couldn't go anywhere if we didn't make a change. Commissioner Parker couldn't take it if the city attorney didn't approve it. Then the commissioners and the mayor weren't going to approve it. So you have to think, well, if what can we do to keep moving in the right direction and trying to get some sense of justice. If not for us, then this would be from us to the community of Athens. So that's the paradigm shift in my thinking that I had to get to and get comfortable with in order to keep this process moving. Does that help any, Crystal?
Thank you, Ms. Hattie.
Did it help?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. I mean, I would have rather, and all of us on the team would have rather it had been differently, but we had to do this in order to not to stop everything, to be stopped in our tracks. But realizing that we will still be exploring opportunities at the state level now that we have two brand new senators that's coming into practice in to be senators. Maybe there's something that could be done at a state level with the help of the whole state of Georgia. So that's my thinking. But you know, in order to help the whole state, because the way that each city will government will be handling could be differently, and it could be causing an issue. But if they state level things could be done, that will help. But that's just my thinking. So, but I think we're going to be able to try to do some things that would help the whole state of Georgia. Any questions? I don't. That's just the way I'm thinking, or we have thought about this. I mean, we've had a lot of conversations between us, and we've had to swallow a lot of pills. When not really pills, but uh, have to swallow some things in order to come up to where we are. But we're going to have to keep it moving in the direction that um, to say that we are moving forward in order to continue to work on this, because it's very, very important that we don't give up. We have to continue pushing forward.
Hey, Miss Hattie, this is Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Kelly. I'm fine.
Good to see you. I was actually just sort of thinking similarly. You probably know there was that resolution in front of the House of Representatives last year that in its kind of most recent version, I think they called HR 40, this study of reparations resolution. And, particularly given the political dynamic in DC now, I'm almost certain that that's going to come up and probably would receive some opportunity that it didn't have in the past.
Right. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. But and like I was telling I don't know whether you were on the call or not when you hopped on, but I was telling the group that now that we have two new senators that we plan to reach out to and see can they do anything on the state level to help the causes of the cities, different cities in Georgia, so we can move forward. We have to work in the game that we have. We have to just play ball with this game until we can see what can need to be done. But we're working hard at it, and we appreciate that all of what this city is doing. But we're going to continue to move down the path of some type of improvement until we can exhaust all means. Um, Anybody else want to hop in and say anything?
So, Ms. Hattie, can you lay out next steps since we didn't get the feedback from legal yet, but we anticipate that coming soon. Can you tell us as a committee what we should be prepared for in terms of the next step for moving these forward?
Let me finish this number 6.
Okay.
And we'll go into next steps. Okay. Number 6 is basically is what I have already been saying is to see can we get some things done on the state level by reaching out. That's all. That's a recommendation, and from Commissioner Parker and us to see what can be done if we reached out to the House of Representatives and the Senate. So that's the end of it right there. That's the end of it. Any questions?
Is this part of the monument or something that was going to be put over in Leonardtown, or is this not part of it?
This is part of it. Part of the resolves. That's what Jen was just asking. I think we're going to move forward with that, Jen. With you, I'm asking that you would continue to move forward with your team. I talked to Allison, and I asked her where did it stand. I know she had said that she had sent some things up the chain, the pipe chain, but anyway, it had went up, but it hadn't come back down for approval. So I would ask you, Jen, to go ahead and move forward with the wall of recognition being on the city right away. Because I don't know how long is that going to be up there on up the chain, or if it's going to come back, or it may not. So we can't wait around hoping that it will be one way, and it may not be. So we need to move on with the city right away, Jen.
Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
know.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Mayor.
I do know it's under active conversation there. So, my impression from a conversation, geez, I think just after the new year, is that they were anticipating some kind of formal response.
Okay. Well, good. Well, good. Well, when we get the formal response, then we'll still be on the right track. We just have to move it back, the position of it. But I would tell you to go ahead, Jen, and getting the information that you need to put um, the walls of recognition up. We had asked you to find someone to help us with what type of documentations need to go up on those. So I think you said you had done that. Do you want to report on that?
Sure, I can definitely report back on that. Do you want to switch to that point on the agenda now, or do you want to make sure we conclude the discussion of the resolutions before I provide an update on the walk of recognition?
Well, let's conclude the work of the resolution. Okay.
And then I'll definitely give a quick update.
Okay. Is there any more information about any more discussion about the revised resolution? Any more questions? I'm not really sure how far we can go. Is that Mariah, Commissioner Parker? Is that about right? We're just going to have to wait and see what comes back from the attorney.
Yeah. I mean, I don't foresee them having any issues since we've previously dealt with any legal concerns that they've had. We're just waiting to get their okay.
Okay.
Which we can hopefully get in the next couple of days.
Okay. So we'll table discussion until we get the revised resolution that we have sent to League of Athens Legal Department. Okay.
So can I ask a quick process question? So once we get a set of resolutions that this committee's good with and legal has, signed off on or whatever they do, is the next step that this would go to a work session for discussion among the commissioners, or would it go straight to an agenda setting session? What are the next steps once we've done our work here as a committee working with the attorneys?
Commissioner Parker, I think it goes to the commissioners to be put on the agenda and then for them to vote on it. Is that right, Commissioner Parker?
That's my understanding.
So, and this is Blaine, and so the mayor, by virtue of the charter and all those things, is the one that determines what goes on the agenda or not. It's good to have him here tonight, and I think that's the common will to go ahead and move forward. But Mayor, I'll defer to you on that.
Yeah, I mean, given the specificity of this, I would just send a memo out in advance with kind of a history of the work of this group and some of the associated aspects of what we've been talking about, like the wall of recognition, and then forward it to the commission so that they understand that it'll be on the following month's agenda.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you.
So we could potentially see that February, March. I mean, do we have a sense for what if things continue to move forward with the attorneys, do we have a sense for when that could happen?
I would think it would be on what we term our February, March cycle. So the agenda setting meeting in February, mid-February, and then a vote in first Tuesday of March.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mayor Gertz.
Okay. Now, can we talk about the subcommittees? Jen, you want to go ahead and talk about the wall of recognition?
Absolutely. So our last meeting in the prior year, we had a really great discussion of the recommendation from the subcommittee on the walk of recognition. And you'll remember this committee went ahead and gave the general approval for our proposal that we're in discussions, it sounds like, with UGA on, to have the 4 points along Finley to be the walk of recognition. Not a lot got done, obviously, with the holidays and the end of the semester from the subcommittee, but we are picking our work back up now. And based on a really great suggestion from you, Ms. Hattie, we want to pull in more experts about how we can actually construct the signage that has the information, the visuals, the pictures, at each of the 4 points. Well, really, it's 3 that are more informational, and the final point is more of an artistic installation. And again, I can provide those details to anyone. Those were discussed at length in the last meeting. But Ms. Hattie provided the really great recommendation to bring in more experts from UGA. And I am really happy to report that I've had a couple of great conversations with Dr. Scott Nesbitt, who is a professor in both history and College of Environment and Design, and he's a public historian, an expert in these things, and he will be working with our subcommittee to think more deeply and specifically about the content that will go on each of those points along the walk of recognition. Thinking again that the first 3 points we discussed will be more informational, historical, have pictures, whereas the final one will be where we bring in an artist to think about how we could do some kind of artistic rendering. So I will be convening a meeting of the subcommittee in the next week or 2 with Dr. Nesbitt, and we will get more specifics. Now, then there's the logistical questions about what the actual physical signs markers look like in terms of them meeting regulations. But we're waiting now to hear from UGA and the city. Are we working with the right of way? Do we have a different kind of setup that we're working with? So we'll wait on more of those technical specifications, but we will be moving forward with providing more detail about the content of those points. So Dr. Nesbitt will be, I think, really helpful, and already has ideas to bring in other groups to kind of workshop ideas about what would be the content of those signs. And we would be reporting back regularly to this committee.
Great. Thank you.
So I'm happy to take questions on that, but really it's kind of our work is continuing now that we've had our holiday break.
Thank you. Okay, anybody have any more questions for Jen? Okay, the last agenda item is historical designation of homes removed from Leonardtown. I asked Charlene to take that up and research that and be able to report back on that. We know at least we have 3 homes already, and the one of the homes, the original homeowner is still living, and she still lives there. She's over, she's over 100, but she still lives in one of the homes. But she's going to research that and get back with us and say what the qualifications are, what would it look like, what's the cost, or whatever. So she's going to give us all of that, so we will be able to make a decision before we present it to the homeowners to see if not they want a historical marker on their property. Okay. That's all that I have on my agenda. Anybody have anything else? You want to go ahead and set up a meeting for February? Or you want me to have a call meeting once we get the information back from the attorneys? And then schedule a meeting?
That sounds good. Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Let's go ahead and just leave it open because a month may be too long. I'm thinking if they get back with us in 3 or 4 days, we still can have a early meeting in February, and that way we can go ahead and work on that. And Mayor Gertz, do you know about how long we should probably hear something one way or the other about the position of the wall of recognition?
I don't, but I will send a message right now and see if I can follow up with you as chair as soon as I hear something.
Okay. And that way we'll know, because depending upon where it is on the right of way or their land, it will have the same information. It just will change probably the size of the wall to recognition. But I told Allison that she needs to be aware that we did not know exactly what we were going to put on it, the walls right now. We was going to get help with that. And I also told her that I couldn't give her the timeline, but if she got the okay, then we will go ahead and give her the information once we got it. What will be on it, on the signs, the walls of recognitions, and the size of them. So thank you, Mayor.
Okay.
Regarding the resolutions, though, if we wanted these, so which again, separate from the walk of recognition, if we want to make sure these get on the February agenda setting, this committee should probably convene as soon as is possible after we get the kind of final approval from the attorneys, which sounds like from Commissioner Parker might just be a few more days. So we might anticipate having a meeting on the resolution specifically. Like, do we need to, as a committee, approve those before they go up the chain to the agenda setting meeting, or can those go ahead and go forward without this committee meeting again?
They need to be approved before going on up.
So we should probably anticipate having a meeting really soon then to ensure we can get those on the February, the resolutions, not the walk of recognition, the resolutions on the February meeting.
Yes. We need to get the resolution approved. I will have to get with the Leonardtown project, and then we can get back together, and then we will have to vote as a justice team before it goes.
So I would suggest we tentatively hold 2 weeks from today for that purpose, assuming that gives the attorneys at the city enough time to give us any final approvals or comments on the resolutions again, that we could meet in 2 weeks where everyone could see the final draft on this committee and approve the resolution so that they are ready to go forward in time for the February agenda setting meeting. It seems to me we should probably hold 2 weeks from today.
Okay, Christine, we hear you. I don't know whether you on mute or not, but we can hear you.
just in terms of the commission calendar, we have a joint meeting with the school board 2 weeks from today at 5:30. So if we could do this earlier than that, that would be great.
Hello?
Okay.
Okay.
Hello?
Christine, if you on mute, we can hear you. I'm not sure what's going on. So what day are you all talking about? What Monday are you talking about?
So that'd be the 25th. Could we do 4:30 that day?
Yes.